Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Christopher Nolan's very first film called Following, starring Jeremy Theobald, Alex Haw, and Lucy Russell, and directed, like all the movies in this series, by Christopher Nolan. Now, why am I covering a director's filmography? Well, he's one of the many great directors, and I have a lot of good respect for his work, and I wanted to discuss his new movie coming out in July. And this movie is... That's right, folks. I'm reviewing Dunkirk coming this summer in July. Now, before I get into this review, I have to confess, before I saw Interstellar came out, and before it ever came out, I haven't even heard of this movie until I watched it in August or September of that year that it came out, to 2014. And liked how well made it was, and how hard it was to hear the dialogue. And to be clear, it was his first film from Mr. Nolan himself. And one other problem I had before I get into the positive sides of this movie, I have one more problem with the film, that is the shaky cam. It just drove me nuts throughout the movie. Hold the camera steady, please. Now to the positive sides of the film, the main character named Bill stalking people is not only creepy in general, but the way we were shown in this movie is brilliant, especially as we get to the point of view of characters. There were really great performances by very much unknown actors of this time, or maybe they're still unknown, but I couldn't be wrong. But this movie was made in 1998. It also has a very incredible characters. That's why Christopher Nolan is a masterful director, in my personal opinion, especially in the student film that he made as far as 70 minutes goes. Sometimes the movie fades to black and it moves on to the next scene. It's original from the movie for a movie that came out in the late 1990s. One of the houses that Bill and another character named Cobb, who we met in the diner at the beginning of the movie, they rob a house with the door with the Batman logo. And eventually he'll make a Batman trilogy out of that. Well, not out of the same one, but you get my point. That I'll be discussing later in months to come, before Dunkirk. The whole movie is in black and white, sure, which is a good thing for your first movie, by the way, in my opinion. Even the score keeps you into the movie as much. The actor who plays Bill looked a hell of a lot like Jeremy Renner, who I'll get to eventually in his other movies, so... Not this actor, but Jeremy Renner. You get my point. The fight scene at the end between Bill and Cobb was actually pretty brutal to watch. And that twist ending where Bill ends up taking the blame and going to the police confessing was actually him. And you're going to expect a lot of that in Christopher Nolan's later works, even after this movie. Well, he'll create a twist ending just like M. Night Shyamalan, who I'll probably might get into sometime in my life. But isn't one of the greatest directors, but Christopher Nolan really is. Now, time to rate this movie. This was a pretty short review because it was an hour and 10 minutes and an hour and 10 minute long movie. So, I'll give it a 7.8 out of 10. It was a good short thriller, good characters, and a damn good first film by Christopher Nolan. So, I'll be back next week with Memento. And until next time, see you then.